With Into the Light dropping on April 9th and the new Onslaught mission with Pantheon, people are kind of wondering what builds can be strong. Well, I wanted to put this new build out that I was messing around with in the Lost Sector and introduce you to the Consecration Titan. So without further ado, let's get into the build. I do want to point out that this isn't going to be the meta. It's just, I thought it was something fun with Pyrogale Titan being really strong this season, playing into the Solar Artifact. Not everyone wants to run around with the 1-2 punch Strand Titan anymore. They want to try something different. And with Pyrogale, this is really nice to set up. Usually with Pyrogale, I was running around with Synthocept still, and then I'd switch to Pyrogale right for the super. But the thing I like about Pyrogale is that it obviously modifies your super, but also Consecration Second Slam creates a Cyclone of Flames. And the first slam, as you're going up, or when you jump in the air, that first travel of flames, that's going to debuff champions and bosses because of revitalizing blast, so causing damage with the solar ability weakens champions. So I did want to base around the Pyrogale with this build. Now I do want to point out that you can ignore everything I'm saying here, and the build you could just put on Monte Carlo and get unlimited melees and do that. But this is for Endgame. I wanted to stun all three champions. With my ignition from the slam, I can stun an unstop. With Tractor Cannon, I can stun an overload. And obviously I have a sidearm on for barrier, or just make myself radiant to stun them. I was having a lot of fun. I want to break down this build to you real quick. First, we're going to go over the weapons because it's very important that you have certain roles on your weapons. The reason why I'm running the Swordbreaker shotgun is because it has Pugilist. It's going to play into the abilities. Final blows with this weapon generate improved melee energy. This gives 22% per kill. Also, what's nice about Sword Logic is every time I get a kill, just one kill, or I finish a champion, that Sword Logic perk times 1 is going to be a 15% damage buff. So if I shotgun one enemy and then I shotgun the next, it's going to ramp up every single kill. But it's nice to have that 15% right off the bat. But playing into getting my melee energy back is huge for this Swordbreaker. The reason why I chose the Drang over the Helios sidearm is simply because this super buff right here. 2-access origin trait, final blows with this weapon while your super is full grants a bonus to strength and discipline for a moderate duration. More strength gives me easy melees, and discipline to give me more healing nades, which is going to play into my restoration. Wellspring and Incandescent is really good because we cause explosions, and the reason why we want to make explosions and get our abilities back, I do want to point out my stats are pretty bad for this. I only have 8 strength, and let's not look at the other parts of my stats because I don't have any strength here. The reason why Incandescent plays into it so well is because we're using Ember of Searing. Defeating scorched targets grants melee energy and creates a fire sprite. So that's how I'm making tons of fire sprites. I do want to point out that people use Dragon's Breath with this build as well, but I just felt like relying on rockets and relying on me staying alive and firing rockets at everything, I felt like Tractor Cannon was better. The reason why I run Ember of Torches is because every time I use that melee, I want to make sure not only with my Bonk Hammer, because I have my Bonk Hammer, but with Consecration, I want to have the Radiant buff at all times. Ember of Empyrean to stack with Healing Grenades, so I always have Restoration up. And Ember of Mercy, every time I pick up one of those fire sprites, not only am I getting melee energy, but I'm getting Restoration. You're going to be running Consecration and Roaring Flames. People underestimate how strong Roaring Flames is. With ×3 Roaring Flames, then getting ready to pop your super with Pyrogale on, you're doing upwards of 70% more damage. I think that's the right percentage. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry, but I think it's Roaring Flames ×3 buffs your super by 70%, which makes Burning Maul one of the highest DPS supers out there if done correctly. I do want to point out though that Burning Maul is just like a golden gun. Do not stand in a well while popping it. For some reason, it cancels the radiant. You're going to be using healing grenades with Throwing Hammer, lift of your choice. I like Catapult and Towering Barricade. But again, you could put on the Rally Barricade lower if you want to use it just to give you the extra energy with your Outreach. So I use Outreach. You're going to get a melee cooldown when using your class ability. And if you use a Rally Barricade, it's going to have less of a cooldown. Powerful Attraction to pick up orbs to give you health and also melee cooldown. You can run surges for your weapons, and then don't forget melee kickstart. Heavy-handed, every time you throw a bonk, you're going to pick up an orb to play back down into your melees on your boots, and then run double siphon with hands-on. It's pretty simple with this setup. All I'm doing here is running in the room, checking to see if I have Roaring Flames proc, checking to see if I can throw a healing nade to start, right when I start out in this Lost Sector, I run up to the enemy, I throw my healing grenade, I get the enemy weak, and then I start proccing the Roaring Flames and also proccing Restoration. That is also huge with Empyrean, and then stunning a champion, and bye-bye. Do I think this build can work in Onslaught? Of course. In normal mode, I think you could just terrorize the whole game with this. No problems. In Legend, it might cost you and your fire team if you play a little risky, but if I'm running over Lost Sectors like this in Master, why not? I just thought this was a really good way for me to just give you guys a fun build to run around in. And I know this build has already been out on the internet, but I always like to throw a little twist on mine. I never thought that I would use Drang in PvE, but it actually spreads a lot of Scorch. It makes a lot of fire sprites. And I do like the Pugilist with Sword Logic on the Swordbreaker, because getting that 22% melee energy is pretty impressive. And who doesn't love running around with Tractor Cannon on a Bonk Titan? Because we all know getting that flat 30% debuff and then getting that Radiant buff at the same time, you've kind of terrorized the game. So go ahead, enjoy this build. I'll actually be probably running this day one of Onslaught with a little bit of Void Titan, a little bit of Strand Titan. I plan on doing guides for Onslaught and also giving you a broken build for Titan, Warlock, and Hunter. Don't forget to enter the PC giveaway. It's in my bio. I can't put the link down below because of YouTube's terms of service, but if you click in the bio where it says my name, we can put an arrow on screen right now. Editor, do your job. Put the arrow telling them where to click on the main page of YouTube, and make sure you're entering. I can't wait to pick the winner on the 15th when I get back. I'm actually going to Texas. I'm going to hang out with Sweat, CB, and Evan. Also, I'm going to see Above. I'm going to see Pure Chill, and I'm going to see if Mr. Sweat would let me move back in, because we all know he kicked me out a few years ago. So hopefully he's nice. Enjoy this. Terrorize the game with it. We got more builds coming. I know I haven't really been uploading builds lately, but trust me, I've got plenty saved. I got about 10 cooking, and I want to use them all in Onslaught to show you how to terrorize the game, and also the new Pantheon game mode as well. Enjoy it. Fucking chicken. I mean, sidearm does help you get the shit back, you know? Like, it was actually helping me get my melee back.